Today and tomorrow, House Republicans are bringing the Strategic Production Response Act to the floor, a bill that forces the administration to open up even more public lands and waters to drilling anytime the president releases oil from the reserve in order to lower consumer gas prices. Now, what House Republicans are doing is effectively ending the president's authority to lower consumer gas prices while handing over our public lands and waters to big oil. You might wonder why Republicans are pushing legislation that so clearly hurts the American people and consumers. Well, to put it plainly, they are simply crossing another item off the wish list of big oil. It's a simple payback to their political campaign donors, and this legislation is not needed. It is fabricated. It is based on a lie. Time after time, year after year, the fossil fuel industry's lobbies to control and lock up more of our public lands and waters, and it often comes at the expense of surrounding environmental justice community. And I say it's built on a lie. There are 9,000 permits on public land for big oil to be able to drill and access that and extract. There are 2,000 that are not being used. There are 2,000 permits on our oceans and waters that at this point, 75% of those permits are not being used, which affords them already the opportunity to extract. Frontline communities in this country carry a legacy of dumping activities that endanger both the health and the quality of life of these communities. Sadly, big oil has a well-documented and troubled history of concentrating their polluting projects, such as pipelines, refineries, etc., in environmental justice communities, including communities of color, poor communities, tribal communities, communities without the political representation and a systemic discrimination in terms of the burden they carry. All this is documented in higher air pollution rates in those communities, water pollution and contamination, premature death, higher incidence of cancer, and other diseases that affect these communities more than any other. Yet, Republicans once again stand ready to do big oil's bidding this week. If Republicans really want to actually are interested in helping American families and the communities overburdened by oil industry pollution, they would support the Environmental Justice for All Act. This act that has been worked on for over 3 years was developed and shaped directly by EJ communities during an extensive engagement process during the last 3 years. This act has many components, but the principles are simple. And the principles are that all people have the right to clean air, clean water, and healthy local environments. For too many across our nation, these rights are not yet realized. The provisions in the EJ for All Act are about equitable access to parks and outdoor activities and opportunities for underserved communities. Federal agencies will be required to meaningfully, under NEPA, engage at any communities prior to any decision when proposing actions affecting EJ community, and it strengthens tribal consultation and input. The bill strengthens and restores civil rights protections for communities long facing greater environmental hazards on the basis of race, color, or national origin. And the bill brings transparency, coordination, and accountability to federal agencies when they carry out activities affecting frontline communities. I was proud to work with Representative McEachin, who left us far too early to develop the Environmental Justice for All Act. His legacy on this issue, his compassion that he brought to it, his strength that he brought to it, and his faith that he brought to it continue to be the legacy and the motivation to secure environmental justice and work for this legislation. I'm proud to say that Representative Barbara Lee will now join as co-lead on the Environmental Justice for All Act this session, and the legislation will be called the Donald McEachin Environmental Justice for All Act. We're talking about basic rights. We're not talking about anything extravagant, anything that is not proven by fact. These communities have been burdened time and time again by industry. And the legislation that we will be seeing today and tomorrow, brought forth by the Republicans, opens the door once again to unchecked, unmonitored, and unprotected actions that negatively will continue to affect these communities. The environment, climate, the need for remediation, and the need for involvement by all communities in the resolution of the issues we face around climate requires that environmental justice community, long left off the discussion, long ignored in the history of this nation, and the citing of projects and activities that have hurt those communities and those families need to be at the table. So if my Republican colleagues indeed want to reward big oil for their support, for the support that they give them, it's time that they included all communities. With that, I yield back. Thank you, Madam Chair.